is Karikter Asked It. You already know Karikter did it. I'm here with Ben Kelly, the man, the myth, the legend of the independent artist community. Man, tell me about yourself, bro.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. So I'm Ben Kelly, and it's my real name. It's my artist name and my real name. I've been making music independently since just about the beginning of this year, in January. I've been involved in music all my life, but really making my own music, recording it, mixing it, all of that, putting it out on the internet. It's just been this year. We're about almost all the way through 5 months in, and things have been going great. I mean, I know you shouted out the independent artist community. I mean, all of the group chats, all of the networks that people have set up, those are just really great. And it's been amazing to meet people, and actually get like some real fans and everything, which is crazy.
For sure.
It's wild to think that, because for so much of my life enjoying music, I have been the fan, right? And now, I've had people who I've never met in my life who are listening to my music and connecting with it, and people all across the world, and it's just crazy, man. But it's been really awesome. I mean, it feels like it's been much longer than 5 months, honestly, and I mean that in a good way. Like it's just been it's been so great to connect with this community, and for me too, because I had been involved in music all through high school and then in college. And I've been out of college for about just about 6 years. And up until the beginning of this year, I really wasn't doing all that much with music, and it was something that had been a huge part of my life. And then I just kind of moved away from it, and got kind of caught up in the rat race, so to speak. And so it's just been really great to reconnect with that and be creative and meet a bunch of great people. No, it's been dope.
That's awesome. Like, how were you involved in music in high school?
Yeah. So as people who watch this who know me, I'm a singer by first and foremost, and always have been. I learned how to. I played viola in elementary school, but I was not good at it. I think I'm not good with instruments. I think it's because like my hand-eye coordination is bad, or I don't know. But I've always had a really good ear for tones and everything like that. And so I've been involved in like choirs and things like that. That was sort of my first foray into music, was being involved in choirs in like elementary school, middle school, high school. I was in an a cappella group in high school. I was in an a cappella group in college too. But then also in high school, I was in a band. Totally different style of music from what I make now. We made mostly like alternative rock at the time, and that was sort of before all of this. That was really my songwriting experience. And I was in a band with a couple of guys from the town next to mine. I'm from Connecticut originally, really talented guys. I think all of them ended up going to college for music, and I didn't. They were really talented guys, and basically they would come up with the instrumental parts to songs, and then they would say, "Here you go, Ben. Like, come up with the vocal part and write lyrics." And that's basically how I still write. I mean, now I've gotten more into production, so I produce myself. But I still structure the way that I write the same way. I come up with the beat and the background instrumentals first, and then move into the melody and the songwriting and everything. But that was a very long-winded answer. But so that was sort of my main background for most of the time, has been singing in groups, not doing original work. I was, like I said, in that band where I made original music, but this is definitely the most original music that I've made in music.
Tell me about the ways that you've seen growth in your music career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't think of anywhere where I haven't grown. I mean, I feel like the biggest one is just how my stuff sounds. If I listen to my first couple songs that I put out in January, I'm like, God, that sounds awful. So literally just mixing, making it sound better, right? And just figuring out how to record better and and coming up with strategies for that. I mean, obviously, growth in my following. You know, I think with each release that I've done, you know, at this point I kind of release one solo song a month. And each time I kind of try to use different like marketing channels and techniques and everything like that to figure out what works. And so at this point, I've figured out a number of things that work and a number of things that don't. And so I'm able to tailor it that way. So I think it's definitely, when I drop a song, I know what I'm doing in terms of getting people to listen to it, you know, just advertising it in that way.
What are some of the things you do to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of nothing. I wouldn't call any of it revolutionary. But you know, for some people, they don't really, you know, market their music at all. So I guess in that way it is. But you know, I think I'm sure you've seen my reels that I put out, right? Where it's like a little like, you know, you do like a snippet of the song, right? Very standard, like it's out now. Another example of like showing your face and showing your personality. I think I saw some video where, you know, that they were like, yeah, like, or maybe it was even reading an article. It was like TikToks and reels and whatever do better when it's someone talking to the camera. And I think, you know, I started doing that once I felt more comfortable with that too, because, you know, when I first started releasing music, I was like, I don't really know what, like, am I going to make up some persona? How am I going to present myself? And I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm just going to be myself. You know, I was like, what do I know about the artists that I like? And I'm like, well, I know what they look like, you know, and like, I know what they're like because I've seen so many, you know, because they're celebrities, right? Like everyone's taking photos and videos of them. But I was like, well, you know, like everything in social media is about parasocial relationships, right? Where like you may have never met someone, but because you watch their content, you think they're your friend. And I'm definitely, you know, I have, you know, people whose YouTube channels that I watch and I'm like, that's my guy. And we've never met.
Right.
Never even talked. So I was just like, yeah, I need to show my face more. So I do reels and TikToks, you know, where it's just a short blurb, but just like, hey, I'm Ben Kelly, you know, just put out this new song, check it out. The one thing that I want to do more of is what I've done in those is then it will just cut to like the snippet and like a visual, but I want to try and make it so that I can like sing the song. You know, obviously it would still just be the song, but just like performing it, right? For some reason, I think I tried that the first time I did it and I was like, this seems very unnatural and it doesn't work, but I need to drill down on that and work on that more. But yeah, I do that. And then the other thing is once I make these clips, I can post them on, I mean, you know, the three main like video channels now are like Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube is really pushing shorts and they want them to be, you know, and it's all the vertical video cuts. You don't really have to recut anything. So if I make a video for Instagram, I'll put it up on TikTok. I'll put it up on shorts. So that just helps with like, you know, making sure that I'm putting out content on all my different platforms. Because especially early on, I felt like I struggled with growing everywhere. I really focused on Instagram. I really focused on Spotify. And for a while, like when I would drop something, I wouldn't even put it on YouTube. Just because I was like, this is too much work. And I think as I've like gotten used to everything and like figured out a strategy, it's much more immediate, easy to do. Just getting all of my promotional materials out. What else do I do? Oh yeah, I've been starting to go live, which was another thing where I was like, I didn't know if I was ready for it. I was like, oh geez, like what I'm gonna do? The camera's gonna be on. I'm gonna be being recorded. And you just get used to that kind of thing. I finally got enough followers for TikTok Live, and I realized that I do not know how it works in comparison to Instagram Live because it is definitely different.
Really?
So I haven't tried it. I need to work on that, but yeah. So all those things, and then also like you know the standard like playlist placements, stuff like that. You know, I think maybe Spotify curators will work more as I get more listeners because I think honestly like that plus like obviously. My take on all of it is like, from what I've read, like, you know, labels have ins at Spotify and they get people placed on curators. So like, you know, as an independent artist, I got a working uphill.
Yeah,
But
there's websites for that though. There's a lot of really good websites.
Oh yeah. Oh, websites too. Yeah. You know, I think in general I've moved away from curators in a little bit just because I feel like, you know, especially on Submit Hub, I will submit something and it's always just like I get some nitpicky response about like why they don't want to put it on there. And I'm kind of like, that's why I focus more on like direct ads on Instagram and boosting things on TikTok and whatever, is because it's like instead of having, you know, some not random, but some music figure or whatever, curator, you know, deciding whether or not they like my song and then putting it out to their audience. I want to go directly to the audience. But, you know, that's not a knock on curators. It's just getting rid of the middleman, so to speak.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, and the other thing is like, you know, I'm always trying new stuff. You know, I think I haven't done that much with like promo pages. I mainly just do boosting on Instagram and TikTok, but you know, that's an avenue, right? I mean, I think sometimes, especially for a page like a World Star or a Rap, right? Like people pay a lot of money to get put on those pages, and then I mean, I'm sure they do get more listeners from it, right? But then a lot of the responses are just like, how much did you pay to get put on World Star? Yeah, you know, I think exploring different channels and just trying to stay fresh, you know, but sure. Building the connection with your fans. I mean, that's like, I really try to go through my message requests and talk to people who don't immediately appear to be bots, you know, and just connect with people, right? It's all about building that connection, because there's a lot of artists that I know who I don't love every single song they put out, but because I like them, I root for them and I want them to do well. And I'm sort of, that's kind of what I'm trying to cultivate.
Hell yeah. No, and you show that every day, you know, like, I mean, you do these little promo videos for artists and things like that. You know?
Yeah.
I respect your hustle. I respect your mindset. It's what we need. We need more of that, you know?
Right. Well, hey, I mean, those promo videos, like, they help the other artists, but they also help me too, right? Because I'm the one who's in the video. Like, I'm saying the other artist is fire, right? But and they are. But you know, it's you know, it's cross promotion. But again, yeah, you get to help someone out, and you know, I mean, I think you know, I'm in my late 20s now, right? And there's a decent number of artists who are in these communities who are, you know, not even 20 yet, right? And so, you know, I've been on the internet for a minute, right? And like, you know, I know how this runs, and also I have professionally I've done some marketing work too, so I feel like I have you know, knowledge that I can share with these people and help them out, and at the same time it's very fun. You know, the promo videos that I've made are fun, they're creative, like,
no,
you
absolutely,
know,
they're fun to watch. They're, you know, that's something that could absolutely gain traction, you know, like
yeah.
I believe that's a good idea.
And some of the edits that people have done with them have been really great, like beyond what I am capable of doing myself. So
that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. If you ever need help, let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the obstacles that you faced?
I mean, I would say the biggest obstacle, I mean, obviously none of what I do would be possible without the internet. And that's true of like most things now. The internet is both a blessing and a curse, right? Like, it has made it possible for me to get my music out without, you know, if this were 30 years ago or something, I could have gotten ingratiated into a local scene, you know, gotten on like some indie radio stations or whatever, and then magically got picked up by some label and you know, broadcast in front of people. And because of the internet, right, I'm able to do all that myself and start to build an audience. But at the same token, there's just so much noise out there, and it's, especially when I was starting out, you know, I was starting out from nothing. You know, I started my Instagram account for my music, I think on like December 31st. And back in those days, it was like, geez, I am just screaming into the void right now. No one's seeing my posts. No one's listening to my music, you know. And I think, you know, there's some stat about like how many people who try making music fail. And I'm like, I think the vast majority, or at least upwards of 50%, has to be people who do that and then immediately, like, you know, they don't blow up immediately. And it's like, damn, this is really, you know, frustrating or whatever. And they just kind of give up. And I definitely could have given up back in those days. And that was the most frustrating it was. And really the artist groups really helped because, I mean, especially then I learned a lot from some people too, you know,
for sure, yeah.
'Cause people are always sharing advice in those groups, and also just, you know, people supporting each other, and being like, oh, you know, your music is dope. Here's what you can do to mix it better, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I would say, you know, and sometimes I can get, you know, it's the common trap that they always say where it's like, you know, don't compare yourself to other people, right? Like I will look at my Spotify and be like, I think I just hit 16K monthly, which is really dope. And
Nice. Congrats,
you know,
bro. That's
thank you. Like, you know, a couple months ago, I mean, I remember when I was trying to get to 100, and it like took forever.
Hell yeah, bro. A
But,
couple months, man. That's big. That's big steps in a couple months, man.
Yeah.
You're whatever you're doing is working.
Right. But at the same time, I'll look at other people on Spotify, right? Where like I was looking for someone to collab with, you know, sort of more like outside of my circle, right? And so I was just looking at like my Spotify radio and like the R&B rising like Spotify playlist, and like I was just seeing all these random people who I'd never heard of who have more listeners than me, and I'm like, damn, it's still such a big, like, you know, there's a lot of people out there making music, and obviously, you know, it's not a competition, right? Like, you know, we can work together and support each other and everything, but it does put things in perspective like that. But again, it's good to compare yourself to your previous self because, you know, I've come a long way already. So, but yeah, I think just the sheer number of other people who are making music and you know, just it's hard to stand out. But once you start getting a boost and you start getting people who do like your stuff and check for you and everything, it really helps because then obviously, you know, they share your music with their friends and everything like that. So it definitely does build exponentially.
Right. Absolutely. And that's honestly, you touched on this earlier, and it's a big part of why I'm doing these interviews is I'm interviewing more than just artists, but I'm really trying to push it to this independent artist community because I think that they will benefit. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've made?
I mean, the biggest mistake for me is that I didn't try doing this 5 years ago. And, you know, obviously I don't know what the landscape would have been like back then, but, you know, part of me does kind of, what's up?
Oh, SoundCloud era. That's when you could blow up
overnight
on SoundCloud.
And then maybe it would have been even easier. I don't know. But yeah, you know, like I do kind of feel like this was something that I really enjoyed and I am really enjoying. And I'm like, damn, you know, why wasn't I doing this when I was 22, 23? Like, you know, I really could have gotten in and, you know, but again, I'm still young and you can't live life like that, right? Like looking back and regretting it. But that's probably to say the biggest mistake. I mean, the biggest mistake I've made over the past couple months. That's tough to say, honestly. I still think it's too early for me to say.
Well, I think that's kind of an unfair question because as independent artists learning every day, our mistakes aren't really mistakes because we had to make them to learn how to get better, you know? Right. So, yeah, like I wouldn't even know how to answer that question. I'll probably take that question out.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, it depends what you mean by a mistake. Like I make mistakes when I'm recording every day. So,
true. I know.
You know. But I would say that nothing huge though.
Or regrets, I guess regrets.
The only regret is what I mentioned that I didn't do it earlier.
Okay. Okay. You're following, and you've talked a lot about how you gain them. How many strangers follow you and interact with you commonly?
Ooh, how many? I mean, basically all of them are strangers, so to speak. Well, what do you mean by strangers?
Well, like okay, so well, that's the shorts and things that you put out. They really are like the formula. That's exactly what everybody should be doing.
Right.
And you boost them and everything. So, have you seen a lot of like random people follow you from those things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, to this day, I mean, it's either, you know, my fan base is either people from the other artists or random people. Like there are not that many people who I know in real life who support me all that much. I mean, there's a couple. My friends support me more than they did, 5 months ago. But you can't expect. Obviously, your friends will support you. I mean, they follow me, right, and they like my stuff when they see it. But like, the people who are really going to support you are the people who like your music, and you can't expect. My real life friends, I didn't make them. Some of them I did. It helped our friendship that we liked the same kind of music. But I have friends who like all kinds of different stuff, and so I understand. And then also part of it is the algorithm. Maybe they truly aren't seeing everything. But yeah, I mean, I would say, especially now, it's mostly random people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is really cool, and
that's what you need. That's what you want. That's organic.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's why it's so wild to me, because it's like these people will be like, I listened to your song like 30 times or something, and I'm like, Jesus, crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm starting to get like the small inklings of what it's like to be like a big artist, right? Like, and I could see how it could be overwhelming, because I do get a lot of messages and everything like that. At this point, it's very manageable, but I could see at some point, it's sort of like doing a live, right? Like the live I did when my song came out last night was like, that was the most people who had come to one consistently. Like, it was like I was in double digits like most of the time. And like I could see it getting to the point, right? Like, you see those like big artist lives, right, where like the chat's going like this and all the hearts, and I'm just like, I feel like part of my formula with those lives is to like respond to the things that people say, and say hello when they come in. And it's like, I wonder, I don't know. It's just, it'll be something to get used to. And it's that's a good problem to have, right? But yeah, no, it is crazy. It's crazy the number of random people that have followed me and talk with me. And it's funny also too, because when I respond to their message requests, some of them are like, "Oh my God, you really responded." I was like, "Well, cool, yeah, man. I'm just some guy." Feeling,
That's cool, man. That's really cool. What does success in music look like to you?
Honestly, I have never been, and maybe it's because I didn't grow up all that disadvantaged. I didn't grow up like super rich or anything, but I've never been super focused on money. I think having enough to have a good, sustainable, comfortable life, I would be fine making money from, the same amount of money from music as I would from like a regular office job. For me, it's more, I really love making music. I love being creative. I like, being able to meet people and have fans and everything like that. So I would say success for me at this point, short-term success for me is being able to make it my career, right? And then beyond that, I definitely have a side of me that can be competitive and get into the numbers, right? Like I would love to get to 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. That would be just like a really, really cool milestone to hit. And then beyond that, I mean, I want to start being able to do tours, right? I want to do shows more consistently, that kind of stuff. But I would say, I try not to focus too much on the metrics, right? Because, it's just some numbers on a screen.
Well, yeah, right? And you got to stay on the hustle to get them up, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, success to me is, it being able to be my career and just, having people come to me who I've never met and being like, I love your music. Like, it did XYZ for me. Right. Like, cause that's the big thing about music, right? Is we listen to it to make us feel a certain way or to inspire us to whatever. And just knowing that I can create art that, does something for people, that people enjoy, that people, love. That's what I would call success. I mean, I try not to stay too focused on the metrics, either, financially or whatever. But at least right now, the main goal for me is working to make it my career. And then from there, I'll, compare myself to the other big artists and try and beat them. But,
Felt, bro. You're from the DMV, right?
Yeah. I live in DC right now. I've been down here. Hey, there we go. Where in Maryland are you from?
Silver Spring.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Yeah. I'm in. I live in Admo.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, I've been down here since college. So it's been almost 10 years. But I am thinking of. I have a friend who lives in Queens, and his apartment, like his roommate, is moving out.
Oof.
So I may be moving up there, which actually
That'd be a
he
good
and I
move.
know. Sorry.
That would be a good move for your career. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's mainly music motivated for me, but just because uh, I know the guy from we did a cappella together
Oh,
in
cool.
college, and he's been learning how to play guitar, and we were like,
All right.
yeah, we can start doing shows together, and and I just think, yeah, really ingratiating myself into the scene because I've tried that a little bit here in DC, but I haven't really been able to find it so much.
No,
Like
I mean, bro, we got a weird kind of music in the DMV like that.
it's I found a group of like dudes who play acoustic guitar, and it's like that's not what my music is, but
Right.
it's the only outlet I have for like playing any music, so it's
Yeah, I
like,
get
okay,
that.
I'll do it. But yeah, I definitely think New York will be great for that, so I
No,
think just
absolutely.
getting involved in a music scene and everything. So yeah, that's the plan for now.
So what? Tell this. This is the last question that I have, and then we'll talk about a couple of. But tell me something unique about yourself that most people don't know, and it doesn't have to be music related. Just what's a weird Ben Kelly fact?
Weird Ben Kelly fact. I feel like this is weird or unique for the people who know me only for my music. Uh, I guess maybe it's somewhat apparent from some of my promotional materials, but I'm a big outdoors guy. Actually, this poster that I have back here is Yosemite. Um, you probably can't see it through the
No,
screen,
I
but
can't. I keep my phone. The camera's in front of you, so I had to like look
right,
out the
right,
corner.
right. But yeah, I'm a big hiker. I love backpacking. Almost I was walking down a trail one time, and there were like twice there was a bear. It was
Where?
fine. It ran off. Most non grizzly like black bears are they're real timid. They run away from you.
Where were you?
But this was in Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah, but I almost walked into a moose one time in New Hampshire. I was going down a trail, and I was like, "Oh, there's a horse." It is not a horse.
All right.
It was this big moose. But yeah, no. So I'm a big outdoorsy guy, and I take a lot of photos, also too, nature photos. So I try to bring those into my art. Like single art and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like most music people don't know that about me. But which is funny because I would say for the past like 6 years, people who met me knew that I was big into that, but they didn't know that I sang, right? And they didn't know that I was into music. So it's like these two different worlds, right?
Sure.
But yeah, that's one of them. I think what else don't people know about me? I mean, that's the big one. I mean, I'm sure I don't not come off as it, but I'm definitely a huge nerd. I love history and science and fantasy, all that stuff. I'm not a
Yeah.
huge gamer anymore. I never was a huge gamer, but I got a Switch. I play some of the Nintendo classics, right? But yeah, but I don't ever pretend to be something that I'm not. So if people don't know those things about me, it's not because I am like
For sure.
trying
It's
to
just not
to hide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess people know this about me, but I'm a big meme lord. I'm a big internet guy. It's like raised on the internet, which is why it's funny that like, especially it's definitely true in rap, but it's also true in other things. Like music scenes will be tied to a city, right? And I almost feel like even with moving to New York and like getting involved with the scene there, I don't think I'll ever be like a city artist, right? It's not going to be like, oh, Kanye's from Chicago, Drake is from Toronto, right? Like I feel like I'm an internet guy. There's the
I claim the
Spotify.
www like
yeah, HTTPS, bro. That's amazing.
That's funny as hell.
But yeah, no, like I think there's a Spotify playlist called like Internet People, and I'm like, that's me.
That's you. You're an internet person.
But it's true. I mean, I love memes, and memes are great for promotion, right? I mean, in a lot of ways, the little sketches I was doing is kind of, it's kind of a meme, right? Because it's like, it's the broadcaster wearing a suit, but he's saying, dripped up, sauced out, So.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything you got coming up?
I just released, came out today, my new song, Malcolm X Park, named after the park that is right next to where I live. It's a really nice park, like chilling there. Great song. Check it out. The response to it so far has been really positive. So, yeah, hoping people keep running with it. Otherwise, I got stuff coming out every month. I got it planned out for like the rest of the year, and basically the plan is to just continue building up my following until I gain a critical mass, and then I have I have a mixtape in the works that I want to put out. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep putting stuff out. I feel like if you're looking for an artist that's not gonna drop off the face of the earth randomly, and you want some consistent music from, that's my plan. I'm gonna stick out. I'm gonna stay there. I'm gonna stay posting. I'm gonna stay active. Shoot me a DM. Let's chat. Send me your music.
He lives on the internet. He's from the internet.
Exactly. www gang, bro. But yeah, no, hit me up. Listen to my music. Let's chat. Let's let's connect. But just don't tell me that my music is fire and that I got lots of potentials, because I have more than enough messages that say that to a T.
I heard your song so and so on Spotify. Like,
yeah, those messages don't get answered. But anyway, yeah, no, come check me out if you haven't already. And but yeah, check out my new song, Malcolm X Park, and otherwise got more on the way. So
Hell yeah,
come aboard.
Check him out, y'all. That's Ben Kelly. His act is on the screen. This has been Karikter Asked It. Man, I had a good time. Thanks for coming, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. This was great.
My cat's been in the lap the whole time.
Oh, that was a lovely cat.